A big good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Gantry TV. It is the Motorsport.ie Formula V Championship, and we are returning for round number 5. What a brilliant season it's been so far. We have had an all-British calendar, and that continues because we are here at the fabulous Donington Park circuit. A favourite amongst our drivers, a favourite amongst the viewers, and it is bound to be another entertaining evening. We have had drama of all sorts across the first 4 rounds in Snetterton, Silverstone, Brands Hatch, and Oulton Park, and that's probably all going to come together in one here tonight on one of the more challenging circuits on the calendar. My name's Evan Dalton. Behind the scenes and probably popping in and out throughout the evening as always will be Ronan Hederman, and it is a pleasure to have you along with us tonight. It is nice and sunny out on the circuit. There is no hideous fog like we had last week. And I am thankful for that because we actually get to see the cars this week, which is a delight. The drivers are delighted there's no rain. Obviously, there won't be any rain for the whole season in this Formula V, but it's a nice break compared to some of the treacherous conditions we had last season. But this Donington Park circuit, we will be running tonight. As you can see, we are running the chicanes, so it is the national layout, not the Grand Prix layout. We won't be doing the foggy S's and down towards the Melbourne hairpin, which might eliminate one of the overtaking zones, but it is, of course, a Formula V championship, so the smallest track variation is usually selected. So it is the 3.149 kilometres or 1.957 miles in all money circuit, 10 corners and the lap record under a minute. But we'll be lapping in about the 122s, 123s, or 120.7s if your name is Peter McCann in this practice session. But speaking of previous weeks, then last week in Oulton Park we had chaos from start to finish. Heat 1, Heat 2, brilliant display of racing talent. Heat 3, on the other hand, was quite the polar opposite. We saw a monstrous collision on lap 1 of the third heat, but that shook up our championship quite a bit. It is still Dylan McClements who is your championship leader, and what a run of form he's on. If he was able to get a podium in heat number 3, which on pace you would have thought he would, but was caught up in that incident, he'd be on a 7-race podium streak. That, of course, 6-race podium streak ended in that heat, so he has to start afresh here this evening. Ronan Doherty then only 20 points adrift, despite being sent round multiple times in the air, multiple times in that heat 3 again. He is still in second, and then Thor Thullo, ever consistent, in third. Jordan Kelly in fourth, and you would say Jordan Kelly is in a nice position, but unfortunately he isn't able to race this evening, which will pretty much cancel out any sort of championship challenge that he has coming into this evening, because of course he's already utilised his drop round. He'll already take the strike in Snetterton, and then so it will be a no score tonight, added to his total score at the end of the season, and he will be, well, it could be 90 points behind out of nothing, depending on the performances from the front runners this evening. Then it is Conor Melia in 5th position on 211, ahead of Sean McClemens on 202, and what a string of bad luck he had last week as well. Was able to take 4th place in heat number 3, but it was nothing close to the performances that he has been putting in throughout the season. Rory O'Shea on 201, just a singular point behind. Then it is Kerryman Tony Sack in 8th position. Peter McCann then down in 9th, and Dave Collier is in 10th position. A good season so far for Dave. I think he's going to be very happy with that one. And we do have a B standings this week. I'm not sure if we have a graphic for it, but we do actually have a B standings on the website. We don't have a graphic for it, but we can read it out anyways. It is actually Mark Ivory who is top of the order in that one. There's only 4 drivers in the B Championship this season, but I think it's up to driver preference almost. I remember someone in our stewards briefing saying you can be moved down if you want to, but it is Mark Ivory at the top on 116, Jared Thornton on 83, then it is, Jared Thornton, yes, is on 83, then it's Rich Murphy on 56, and then Grace McCallion on 4. So, bit of a wide variety of points hauled in the B standings. They are on your screen. You can see them at the bottom, just below everybody in the standings. Another parish notice coming into this evening as well is Kyle Irvine, who isn't allowed race this evening. He has picked up a race suspension, so won't be allowed race to come into tonight. He picked up 3 penalty points or a points deduction of 45 points on his debut, so I won't say any more about that. But no Kyle Irvine here for tonight. We do have TJ Taff returning though, so one mini driver swaps out for another. Logan Hoy back as ever. But as the practice concludes, it is Peter McCann on top. not a representative lap for Peter McCann. He cut the chicane seemingly, so that is why he is well, way quicker than everyone else. But practice doesn't usually mean a lot here in RTA, as we will see that coming into the 15-minute qualifying session tonight. And this Donington Park circuit was actually the first permanent park circuit in England. So before Silverstone, before Brands Hatch, this was the first permanent facility. It held its first car race here on the 25th of March 1933. So a few years ago now. But it kind of has had a modern era rather than sort of the old races. In January 2017, the circuit was taken over by Motorsport Vision, which is a consortium led by Jonathan Palmer, I believe. They own all the circuits in the United Kingdom, pretty much bar Silverstone. So it has been done up since then, and is currently hosting an awful lot of events. Of course, it hosts your British Touring Car Championship, it hosts your British Superbikes, it hosts cars such as these Formula Vs, more so your Formula Fords and stuff like that. So it is definitely an active circuit, and a circuit these drivers absolutely love coming to. I don't think there's many that don't like Donington Park. It is certainly challenging, it can certainly spring a surprise, but it can also be thoroughly entertaining. And the last time we came here to Donington in the Super Formula Lights, we saw some impressive performances throughout the field. Dylan McClements, I believe, won Heat 3 on that occasion. That was actually our first wet race in Gantry TV, in RTA Virtual Motorsport, excluding the Endurance Championship. It was our first full wet evening, and yeah, the drivers will be glad to see the back of it. We're getting the first laps underway in qualifying. Thankfully, they haven't decided that they wanted to fool us this week. In case you missed last week, a couple of drivers thought they were funny and decided they were going to do an extended outlap to trick me and Ronan, but we have no tomfoolery of sorts here this evening. So qualifying is underway in regular fashion, and you can see Robbie Callahan and Peter McCann heading on their laps now, heading down the hill. The first laps will be pretty much inconclusive here. Got to let the drivers find their groove, and got to let them get used to the qualifying conditions here, because it takes a couple of laps to get up to speed, especially around such a difficult circuit. But currently on your screen, you can see just heading up the hill. That is Dylan McClements in the Team DDR car, just rounding through in towards the right-hander of McLean's. This is the championship leader, of course, Dylan McClements, and last season was third in the championship in the Mustang. Yes, it was the Mustang America's Cup last season. It's been well over a month since we've had that, so I suppose I'm allowed to forget. But it was 3 wins last season for Dylan McClements. Currently, so far this season, would you believe he actually doesn't have a race win? So Dylan has not crossed the checker in first, but is in a significantly better position in the championship than he was this time last season. He hasn't had a winless season in quite some time. Won 3 races in the Mustang America's Cup, won 2 races in the Super Formula Lights, won 3 races in the GT4 Cup, and finished 3rd in the championship, or there or thereabouts, in all those seasons. So it would be rather ironic if he could finally clinch an RTA title without winning a race. And it's been a long time since we've seen anything of the sorts in any form of motorsport. But he's 3rd in his banker lap. Thor Tullow is quickest, and Thor has recently been out in a Formula V on a British circuit. Wasn't Donington Park, was Brands Hatch. However, he raced in the 750 championship, I want to say, at the weekend in Brands Hatch. And a big well done to Thor on some success there. We currently have Adam McNamara going purple in the 2nd sector. Sean McClemens purple in the 1st. We'll see a lot of improvements around the field. We are back to 3 sectors tonight, thankfully. None of this 5-sector nonsense that iRacing likes to produce. This is Adam McNamara, you are seeing on your screen. And Adam McNamara had a great fight with Logan Hoy last week as the spinner there heading through the Goodhards chicane, or Goodhards, usually the final corner Goodhards, but it is, of course, the chicane for this week. So up and across the line comes McNamara. It is a 22.9 for him, but that one's not quite gone on the board. So we'll have to circle around again and try and repeat the feat. Here is Sean McClements heading through that chicane. He's got a right old slipstream train right behind him, but Sean will be looking to go to the top. McClements 1-2 in practice last night, or at least that's what Sean told me. So he'll be looking to pick up a good result here this evening. Ronan Doherty is able to go 3rd with a 23.1. Only one man not in the 23 so far, and that is Thor Tullow. So Thor would but a very good banker lap. Grace McCallion gets her first lap on the board. It's a little bit off Dave Collier, but definitely an install lap nonetheless. B Series leader Mark Ivory's just jumped up to 11th. Rory O'Shea jumps up to 7th position, just behind Peter McCann. Only a handful of hundredths of a second for Rory O'Shea, and that's a big snap. Heading for Redgate of turn number 1. He'll be back to the pit lane and back out on track once again. Here is Conor Melia heading up the Starkey's Bridge curve, turn number 6 in towards turn number 7 of McLean's. Big overtaking zone, this one actually. And you wouldn't really think it, but you can get a lot of overtakes into that right-hander. It moves down the inside. It's kind of similar to the Brundle corner at Snetterton, where it is a flick to the left and then a flick to the right. Ronan Doherty improving on his best qualifying lap so far. No improvement in the first sector, but best overall in sector number 2. So we'll keep an eye on the timing column to see if he is able to jump to the top. Here is Doherty, second in the championship, chasing down his cousin Dylan McClements. Of course, he's got a big slipstream off Dylan McClements, and I wouldn't be surprised if this goes to the top, and it does. Ronan Doherty, quickest of the bunch so far. He is able to take pole position. Took pole position in Snetterton, of course, did Doherty. Took pole position in Brands Hatch and took pole position in Oulton Park last, or no, he didn't take pole position in Oulton Park last week. I believe that was Jordan Kelly who took pole. So Doherty and Kelly having a bit of a shootout for pole position. Ronan will be looking to take it with the absence of Jordan Kelly here this evening. A couple of more positions around the field. Paolo Tempera has gone to 9th spot, and Farrell has gone to 11th. Johnny Hollywood has gone to 15th, and still awaiting a lot of times on the board. No time for Andrew Murphy, Adam McNamara, TJ Taft, Logan Hoy, Nick Tullow, Jared Thornton, or the ever-fabulous Jamal Gandor in the 961. He's not quite got a lap on the board, not yet. Not actually out on circuit at all is Jamal. So we'll try and see if he comes out towards the later parts of the session. There's a big cluster circling around here in the middle of the field. You can see Dylan McClements is in it. You can see Adam McNamara is in it. I believe that's Rory O'Shea even just pulling out away. So there is a big slipstream cluster circling around the field all at the same time. And if one of these makes a mistake, they're all into the side or into the back of the car in front. So got to be very careful, but you do want to follow cars here in qualifying, as I was corrected by all the drivers last week. You do actually want to be right behind a car in front. Clean air, not necessary in these cars really. There's not an awful lot of downforce on them, so you wouldn't really need a lot of clean air. 70 brake horsepower, 396 kilos, 4-speed manual gearbox. Certainly in iRacing it differs in real life, but that is the iRacing specs that we are given, and of course it is a fairly fixed setup here in RTA as well, so the drivers don't have a lot of wiggle room to change the car to suit their needs. Tony Stack, as you can see, heading around in the Mario livery. Sean McClements has gone purple in the first sector as well, so there is a lot of improvements with 7 minutes to go here in qualifying. We will ride on board and give you a full track run through in a couple of moments, folks. Really, when we see someone on a good lap, we will probably go with the leader so far in qualifying, Ronan Doherty, who is just circling around, and I believe he is slipstreaming both the McClementses now, or certainly that's John McClements, who is parked right behind, or yeah, it is the number 8 who just goes flying past. Ronan Doherty, who's pulled over, and he'll now take a load of slipstream from his fellow team DDR teammate. So we're on board with Doherty here now, currently quickest in qualifying, but that might change by the time we get over the start-finish line. It's going to be, or will he remain at the top of qualifying? He will, for now at least. Sean McClement's not able to improve. So here is Doherty down towards the first corner. This is the Redgate corner, just off the Wheatcroft straight. It is a quick flick to the right, and you want to kind of stay in third gear there. You don't use the gears an awful lot in these cars. Doherty just going from third to fourth as he enters in towards the famous Craner curves. Turn number 2 and turn number 3, brilliant vantage point this one in towards turn number 3, the Craner curves, before breaking for the old hairpin, which isn't technically a hairpin, but it is a very famous corner here at Donington Park, and Doherty takes it beautifully, uses all the curve on the outside. It's nice and flat on that offline, so you can take it. Dylan McClements pulls out of the way as Doherty heads through Starkey's Bridge and up towards turn number 7 of McLean's, in towards the right-hander, using all the curve, even a little bit of the grass. You want to be careful that you don't run too far wide out on that corner, because you will pick up a lot of grass and lose a lot of lap time. In towards Coppice, turn number 8. It is technically a double apex right-hander, but you don't want to use the apex on the exited corner. Just on the entry, run as far wide as you can on towards Starkey Straight. And the full variation of this circuit, you'll be getting ready to take the Foggy S's down towards the Melbourne hairpin. On this variation, nope. Just planning your braking zone for the final chicane through Goodhards and on towards the Wheatcroft Straight. This is a very decent lap for Ronan Doherty. He might be on his way to improve here in qualifying up towards the start-finish line. He's a 21 or 22.5 currently to play with. It's actually 23.8 that time round, so no improvement there for Ronan Doherty, but a beautiful lap nonetheless. And you can see just how sort of complex completing a lap is here at Donington Park, and how on the ball you have to be through every corner. It's up, it's down, there's a lot of undulation, there's a lot of crests and dips to deal with. As that is actually Peter McCann, who has taken a fancy to the rear diffuser of Ronan Doherty. He's going to be following second in the championship right round here to try and overtake him. He is actually going to have to pull off the overtake on his lap, so that's not usually ideal, but I don't think McCann is going to lose an awful lot of time from it. It is currently Ronan Doherty still top of the order, however, with Thor Tullow in second, Sean McClemens and Dylan McClemens third and fourth. Then it is Peter McCann in fifth, and this sort of track suits Peter McCann. Certainly tracks like Donington, like Snetterton seem to suit Peter, maybe more technical circuits rather than Brands Hatch, or maybe even last week's variation of Oulton Park. Obviously Oulton Park is usually a very technical circuit, but last week's variation that we ran, the Foster's layout, only had a handful of corners really, so it wasn't necessarily up to Peter McCann's needs, as he's gone wide and into the wall. And his car no longer up to his needs either. That was a big mistake heading through the final chicane, and any sort of decent lap McCann had on his hands, he won't be able to complete. Here's Adam McNamara heading through that same chicane. This is to complete his first run of the day. We did see him out on track earlier, but wasn't able to set a compliant lap. He will have to go again. He is going again, and the number 6 is up towards the start-finish line. And where's he going to go on the timing tower? Nowhere, seemingly. Not too sure of the issue, but he's gone nowhere, so there won't be an improvement for Adam McNamara. He will have to wait and go again, as there is an improvement, or someone has jumped up the order, it seems. As it was Mark Ivory who jumps up to 9th, so the B Series leader, jumping ahead of Andrew Murphy. Great lap there for Mark Ivory. He had an impressive race last week in Oulton Park as well in that heat number 3. He was very affected with that big collision, but Mark Ivory was able to keep his nose clean and pick up an 8th place finish. That was his second best result of the season. Best result of the season for Mark Ivory was a 7th place finish back at the Silverstone National layout. So he is just picking up the steady points, as also picking up a bit of grass in the suspension of his Formula V as he runs wide through McLean's. Here's Dylan McClemens, championship leader, we remind you, on a very impressive run of form. Very, very consistent run of form, and he's more mature than ever, is Dylan. He took pole back in Donington Park, back in the Formula Ford 1600 Championship, I believe, and that was ultra impressive for its time, but being right on the pace is now what we expect from Dylan McClemens. This will be one of his last laps of the session, second last lap of the session potentially, so he needs to get it right. Uses that red sausage curve on the entrance into the chicane, has to correct a little bit of a slide on the entrance to it, but nothing major. We'll see if it was a major loss of time for Dylan McClemens. PB in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Is it a PB overall? Yes, it is. It's the front row of the grid overall for Dylan McClemens, so that is a crucial lap for Dylan. His brother Sean has been known for taking the front row on multiple occasions this season, but Dylan is the man who puts the McClemens name up there. Sean will be the one who picks up the slipstream now for his final run. A decent bit of coordination between the two McClemens brothers. They're certainly not boxing the head off each other like most siblings probably would be fighting over slipstream. They're always very coordinated, and it's definitely something they've practiced and they've got used to. And Ronan Doherty kind of dips in and out of it from time to time, but Sean and Dylan have always been slipstreaming each other here in RTA qualifying sessions. Bit of a tongue twister, that one, folks. Try saying it. Yeah, I've just been told in my ear as well from Ronan that they do in fact fight over internet connection, which is true. We've seen a few disconnects in the past, and I'm sure that if Dylan was the cause of Sean disconnecting, there would be other words in the McClemens household on a Tuesday evening. But 40 seconds to go here in qualifying. It is still Doherty who does seem to be cemented on the top and looking to take his third pole position of the season. No one really coming close. That McClemens effort, the best of the bunch. See if Sean can go any better. as he rounds through the final couple of corners now as well. Weaving indicates to me that he's not gone any better, and no, he hasn't. 23-1 for Sean McClements. Ronan and Dylan don't improve. It's down to Tortolo then maybe to try and surprise us, although there is only 10 seconds left of qualifying, so he is not going to do so. There'll be no real further improvements, and it will be Ronan Doherty's pole position here at Donington Park. He'll start Heat 1 from the front of the grid alongside Dylan McClements in second position, and then it will be Tortolo who starts in third. Sean McClements then will start in fourth, ahead of Rory O'Shea in fifth, Peter McCann in sixth, Conor Melia in seventh. Then it is Robbie Callahan in eighth, Adam McNamara in ninth, Mark Ivory in 10th, Andrew Murphy in 11th, Logan Hoy starts in 12th, Paolo Tempera 13th, and it's Enda Farrell ahead of Tony Stack, Dave Prunty, Dave Collier, Philip Upson, your top 18. I think Philip Upson's favourite qualifying position is 18th. He always seems to end up there. Johnny Hollywood then in 19th, Grace McCallion, Jared Thornton, Nick Tullow, Jamal Gandor, TJ Taft, bottom four. No time on the board here. There's no time to waste either, because we're going straight into the opening heat here at Donington Park, and it is bound to be a good one. We've got a classic race in our hands, a lot of classic cars housed here at Donington Park. The famous Donington Park collection, of course, 130 historic cars. Maybe we can add one of these Formula Vs to the museum if there is a hat trick or something historic on our hands tonight. But it will be Ronan Doherty who will start alongside Dylan McClements on the front row, and this could be a little bit of a battle. Although they're cousins, although they certainly have a good relationship, they are now also championship contenders, and they do need to pretty much outscore each other from here to the end of the season. We are kind of in crunch time for for making or breaking a championship. Certainly not in crunch time for deciding the championship. There's 90 points on offer every week. We have around 5, 6, 7 to go. It's not make or break just yet, but you want to be outscoring your title rival. You don't necessarily want to be losing points here or there, and especially when they know they're probably the two favourites with the absence of Jordan Kelly. Tortolo's been good as well, but just not quite on the level of Ronan Doherty and Dylan McClements. Tor and Dylan neither winning a race, but Dylan certainly looking more efficient in the long run. We'll have the red lights coming on soon, folks, and we will be getting ready to go racing here at Donington Park. If you have any thoughts on the racing action, let us know, of course, in our various stream chats, especially the one on Gantry TV. But the 5 lights are on here, and we go racing in Donington Park. That's a great start for Ronan Doherty. Brilliant start for Sean McClements. Already looking to make a move. Boxton off Rory O'Shea. Tucking into the slipstream with Tortolo in front, and already past his brother. Dylan bogging down a little bit on the run to the first corner. That's something Dylan struggles with. Oh, and there's contact. Tortolo and Sean McClements, who've both gone round. Dylan is able to escape. He's down to 6th, but still has his car intact. It is Doherty, O'Shea, Melia McCann, who lead us down the Craner curves for the first time. Tortolo and Sean McClements coming to blows. Not too sure who at fault for that one, but they both have gone spinning down the order. Tor down to 20th, Sean McClements down to 22nd, and there's a couple more cars off in the grass in the background. Great start for Grace McCallion, who's up to 16th place. Jamal Gandor up to 15th place. A lot of quick starters here in Donington. Dylan McClements immediately looking for the move on Andrew Murphy, but he's ran a little bit wide heading through McLean's, and that might cost him in the long run on the exit of the corner, losing a position to Tony Stack. And a McNamara might look to get involved in this one as well, and that's the last thing Dylan McClements really needs. Side with McNamara now, and McNamara, of course, absolutely nothing to lose at this stage in the season. Dylan McClements quite a bit to lose, so Dylan will be having that in the back of his mind. He will already know that he's made a poor start to this race and needs to salvage every point he can. Enda Farrell, Dave Collier, Johnny Hollywood, side by side in the background. That seems to be, I believe, Enda Farrell who's gone around. It is, and Farrell getting way out of shape into the braking zone for the final chicane, and he has spun round. Disappointing for Enda Farrell, with a good qualifying and an even better race start. Paolo Tempera going for the move there. You can see in the white and yellow around the outside, Andrew Murphy in the more orange coloured Formula V on the inside. Now in the middle of the trio, Paolo Tempera really out of shape on the outside. Not too sure how he's hung on to that one, but a good move, or sorry, a good piece of driving, I should say. Nonetheless, he has lost 4 spaces, so I don't necessarily think it could be described as a good overtake, as Dylan McClements is in this fight, as is Logan Hoy. In the battle up the front, however, it is Rory O'Shea who is looking to put a lot of pressure on Ronan Doherty. Not quite doing so. Conor Melia, the man in 3rd place, is the one looking to make the move. One, Heat 2 and Brands Hatch, of course, this season did Connor, as there's Tony Stack, and someone has gone flying in front. I think it could be Enda Farrell again. Oh, that was almost very sketchy rejoin. We have a lot of retirements at the start of this race, which is unusual for Heat number 1. Thornton in the pits, as is Prunty, Ivory, Nick Tullow, and TJ Taft, who have all come to blows so far. So disappointing start to Heat number 1 for them. Ronan Doherty is now under pressure from Rory O'Shea. O'Shea has fended off the attack of Conor Melia. He will now be looking to attack another Irish Formula V drivers. There's a spinner there, that's Adam McNamara, who's gone round through the chicane, and that's a horrendous position for your V to end up, but I think he's done a good job on holding the brakes. The only one I think who has lost a big bit of time there was Jamal Gandor, but still has his car, just has lost the time. So a decent job from Adam McNamara. Holding the brakes, a big talking point amongst the RTA stewards in the last few weeks. No, McNamara won't be in much trouble there. Amelia not able to go for the move on Rory O'Shea. O'Shea will stay in second place, and it's now become a 5-car fight for the lead of this race. There's 4.5 seconds between 5th and 6th. There's Doherty, O'Shea, William McCann, and then Robbie Callahan in 5th. So that is the 5 that we are expecting to fight for the race win here, unless something drastic happens that cleans them all out of it. O'Shea looking for the move in towards Coppice. This is now Paolo Tempera and Sean McClements fighting as well. Rory O'Shea's into the race lead, so Doherty has a challenger. He's not going to be able to lead this one from the front, and he's going to have to fight for it, but there's nothing more that Ronan Doherty enjoys is fighting for the race win. Conor Melia looking for the move as well. They're going to be free abreast potentially into the chicane. O'Shea just losing out in a straight line, and it looks like it's going to be Conor Melia who's going to take the race lead here. Oh, that's so close between the two. Doherty just about leaving adequate racing room, and Conor Melia is still intact and still in second place, but for how much longer? Peter McCann in the VRA Racing livery, looking for the move down towards turn number 1, not able to make it stick. Rory O'Shea's going to try and fling it round the outside through Redgate and try regain the second place that he only lost a handful of corners ago. Still side by side down the Craner curves. Robbie Callahan is a very keen spectator to this fight. He's hoping something goes wrong in front that allows him to sweep 3 positions in one go. But line astern they fall, heading for the old hairpin, and it will still be Doherty who is into the race lead. Doing a good job at the front is Ronan Doherty. Remember, he's been the runner-up in RTA for quite some time, still currently second in the championship, so he is looking to remake a name for himself in the world of Irish sim racing and pick up another one of the Premier Series' titles. But he's been made work for this race alone, let alone for a championship. Conor Melia is right on his tail. 2 drivers who have shared a real racing track and a virtual racing track in 2024, so they'll be well used to the driving abilities and the habits of one another. Melia knows that if he goes for the move into the chicane, Doherty will leave him the space. That's exactly what he's done, down the inside, and is into the race lead. Almost a little bit of a nick from the blue number 29 behind of Ronan Doherty, however, and that's now put Doherty on the back foot and is under pressure from Rory O'Shea, Peter McCann and Robbie Callahan. And if Doherty's not careful, he could have lost all 3 positions in towards the first corner, but a keen defensive move allows him to stay side by side with the high pre racer of Rory O'Shea, who tries to keep it on the outside, but it's not much of an avenue for him to drive into. It's almost like a cul-de-sac in front. If he drove into this side-by-side action, he'd probably only end up coming out backwards, as Robbie Callahan's gone for the move around the outside as well. So Rory O'Shea really doesn't have a lot of space to work, but Melia's been pushed on to the sand on the outside of the corner. That's tightened up very, very quickly. I'm not overly sure they've all escaped. They're almost 4 abreast in towards the left-hander of Starkey's Bridge and up towards McLean's. It's still Doherty on the outside, still on the inside, I should say, still Mealy on the outside. Robbie Callahan, Peter McCann, all in this fight. Rory O'Shea as well, somehow all unscathed. How, I'm not really quite sure. It's another one of these beautiful miracles that we see time and time again in this RTA Formula V battles. But we're actually coming up on some lap traffic as well. That is just another caveat to put into what's been a cracker. As Conor Melia, it does go for the race lead once again. So I think we know where Conor likes to make his overtakes, and he's made the same mistake again. This time Ronan is wary of it and avoids it. Takes an outside line, takes an outside approach through the final corner. That'll be an outside approach through the first corner as well, but it's better than him losing 3 places, potentially losing 3 places, like we saw on the last lap. He uses a bit of the pit exit to his advantage. You can't do that. You don't want to overdo that, or you might be in a little bit of trouble with the stewards, but certainly do it once or twice. There's nothing against that. You can use all the tarmac that you are given, and that gives Doherty the race lead. O'Shea and Callaghan side by side in the background as well. Robbie Callaghan would love to finish on the podium. Hasn't done so this season. He's always been up there in heat number 1, but he's not quite taken a spot on the rostrum just yet. As all wheel banging between him and Callaghan. Oh my goodness me. That is so close, and I'm not too sure how they've both squeezed through there. It's going to tighten up even more in towards the right-hander, and they all still come out unscathed. That is truly incredible. How they banged wheels, and neither of them even seemed to move. Both cars stayed pretty much planted to the floor. I don't think it's supposed to do that, because we've seen a lot of cars go in the air very easily this season. But sure, look, we won't be complaining, because the battle will continue on. This has actually let Dylan McClements and Andrew Murphy catch up to the fight, so it could be a 7-car fight entering the last couple of laps of this race, because Dylan is now well within slipstream range of Peter McCann in front of him. That is a lucky, I suppose you could say lucky escape, but he has driven the race himself. He has been the one to bring himself back up, but it is really a lucky escape after the potential race start hampering collision that he could have had he not been quicker to avoid his spinning brother in front, as there is a bit of lap traffic getting out of the way. Yeah, huge shout out to whoever that is for the sportsmanship. Doesn't want to get involved in this fight for the race lead, which is not much of a fight heading down the corner curves for the second final time, because Ronan Doherty has pulled out a little bit of a gap ahead of Rory O'Shea. Robbie Callaghan wants a little bit more, doesn't want to settle for third. You can't really settle in this Motorsport.ie Formula V Championship, otherwise you'll have another car parked on your rear diffuser in a matter of seconds, and that's exactly what you've seen happen to Robbie Callaghan. Didn't go for the move on Rory O'Shea. All of a sudden, Peter McCann is like a shark that smells blood. Dylan McClements looking for the move on Conor Melia as well, but will be doing well to find it, and this is a strong part of the circuit for Conor Melia. The snap mid-corner you can see from McClements indicates that maybe not his best corner, but Dylan very good at this whole Donington Park circuit. He's proved that in the past, as we see the weaving start from Ronan Doherty in front. The slipstream being used by Rory O'Shea to his advantage. Robbie Callaghan in third wants that little bit more as well. We'll have one more lap to go here at Donington Park, just about. We crossed the line with 9 minutes and 55 on the clock, so we're 5 seconds short of the finish of the race. That's brilliant. We get one more trip around the 2-mile circuit. McClements not able to go for the move on Conor Melia, but he makes Melia miss his apex a little bit. Smart move by Dylan McClements, just sort of dummies him into thinking that Dylan would be going for the dive bomb, and now he can attack down the Craner curves. Ronan Doherty knows where he has to be careful. This corner not necessarily one. It's very difficult to lunge it down the inside. As I say that, Robbie Callaghan shall prove me wrong. Brilliant move down the inside by Robbie, but as you can see, the outside then becomes so difficult to get round, and now look at this. This is Peter McCann as well going for this one. Free abreast in towards the right-hander of McLean's on the last lap. Very brave. If Peter had kept that wood stick, he doesn't, thinks the better of it, thinks long run, and thinks a 4th place finish mightn't be the worst, but there could still be more on the cards. We have a couple of difficult corners coming up, Coppas being the first of that, and Doherty leads us straight through the final chicane. Definitely an overtaken zone in these Formula Vs. These aren't TCRs, these aren't GTs. There's a lot of racing room in what is typically a tight chicane. Rory O'Shea into the slipstream of Doherty. Race win looks a little bit far-fetched, but Peter McCann and Robbie Callaghan are going to fight for the final place on the podium. McCann's had a podium this season. Callaghan has not. McCann's run a little bit wide. Callaghan looks home and dry. Peter McCann's going to defend from Conor Melia. Melia might look to take them both on the run to the line. Is he going to be able to do so? No, he won't. He'll finish 5th. Robbie Callaghan will hold on to his first podium of the season. Ronan Doherty takes the race win. Rory O'Shea there in 2nd. Dylan McClements recovers to 6th position, and Andrew Murphy will stay in 7th. Another mini drag race to the line was the two who got caught up in the first corner. Thor Tullow, Sean McClements. They'll finish in 11th and 12th. But great race here to start us off in Donington Park. Really exciting, and very clean as well. There was a couple of moments there where I thought we would have had a goner heading up the hill, but no, absolutely not. And really superb stuff from all the drivers to keep that clean. Let's have a look at this instant replay then. If I told you what this is, I'd be lying. This seems to be, that's Grace McCallion's car that we're looking at, heading up the hill. What has occurred here? Oh, was yeah, that was the wrong replay. We've just put Grace McCallion on blast for no reason here on Country TV. We just had a look at one of her spins. This is the first corner. You can see Sean McClemens, Tortolo side by side. Oh, Sean sort of, not sure if he had a kick of the rear or something, but seemed to run a little bit off his line, clipped Tortolo. That's what happened to them both. But yeah, it could be a stewards review there. If Thor feels it's fitting, could definitely be a stewards review. Let's have a look at your full race results, and it is Ronan Doherty who takes the race win. Rory O'Shea in second, Robbie Callahan in third, Peter McCann in fourth, Conor Melia in fifth, and it is Dylan McClements in sixth. Andrew Murphy in seventh, Logan Hoy in eighth, and it is Dave Collier rounding us out in ninth, ahead of Paolo Tempera in 10th, and it is Tortolo, Sean McClemens, Philip Upson, Johnny Hollywood, Grace McCallion, Tony Stack, Jared Thornton, ahead of Adam McNamara in 18th position. Then down the order a little bit, it is Mark Ivory, B Series leader, or at least was coming into this race. That might change, but a strong result for Thornton. Ahead of Enda Farrell, Jamal Gandor, Dave Prunty, Nick Tullow, and TJ Taff, who rounds us off. Bit of a report coming in. Thanks, Kyle Irvine, for this one. TJ's PC has stopped working, hence why we've not seen much of an appearance here from him tonight in Donington Park. But as race one ends, or as heat one ends, heat two starts, and it will be in that order that we've just read through that will decide the grid for the 15-minute B heat, and we will have reverse grid. Or we'll have reverse top 8 20 minutes coming up in a few moments' time. But the B heat starts now as we go racing in Donington Park once again. Brilliant start. Robbie Callahan, Rory O'Shea has had a problem off the line. He's pulled over to the left-hand side. So Callahan has launched the attack immediately on Ronan Doherty. Andrew Murphy, good race start. Peter McCann has had a bit of a poor start. He's down to 6th place. Logan Hoy strong off the line, up to 7th. Adam McNamara gaining a spot over Tony Stack in the background. Tortolo, Sean McClemens remain 10th and 11th. They'll be looking to cut through the field and at least get on the reverse grid here in this heat. Down towards the old hairpin for the first time. That is Logan Hoy, who you can see side by side with Peter McCann. And Peter McCann is staying ahead for the time being. Dylan McClement sneaking through as well. Dylan and Logan, two of our younger drivers on the field. Peter McCann might be feeling his age, but he's schooling them both a little bit. And there's a big problem for Dylan McClements there. Really, he's gone dropping down the order. I'm not sure if he just ended up completely offline or something, but Dylan, yeah, he's had a bit of an issue. Down to 13th. That's a problem for the championship leader. Oh, there we go. There's the first car in the air tonight, and that is Sean McClements, I believe, who has gone flying once again. Logan Hoy involved in that one as well, and poor Sean went airborne 3 or 4 times last week in Alton Park. Probably didn't miss it, but he's had another taste of it nonetheless. And certainly, if we needed an RTA Evil Knievel, Sean McClements would be first on the ballot paper. Ronan Doherty is in the race lead. After 1 minute and 30, first lap completed. Callahan remains in second, Conor Melia in third. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Rory O'Shea, but I imagine O'Shea will look to claw that up fairly quickly. Oh, Andrew Murphy tried a big dive down the inside, but wasn't able to make it done. He has forced Rory O'Shea into a mistake, though, so Rory is going to be looking to just stay in front for now. He'll be lucky to stay in front for now. Big slipstream for Andrew Murphy, but I don't think he's going to risk it in the second lap of the race, or at least he shouldn't with Peter McCann watching. Peter felt that there was a lot of, let's put it, adventurous overtaking attempts in Alton Park last week, so he is on keen watch for that one. One of the members of our stewards team is Peter. Andrew is as well, by the way, but I think Peter likes to think he's in charge. He's gone for the move on Andrew Murphy, and he has made the move stick, so good move there from Peter McCann. I wonder, was that one of his adventurous overtaking attempts? Potentially, as he gets past the number 17 in towards the right-hander. A little bit further back, Dave Collier in 10th, Adam McNamara in 11th, and it's Upson, Stack, Farrell, Thornton, McClemens, Gandor, Jamal getting past Mark Ivory. Good move there for the Lebaneseman. Grace McCallion in 19th, and it's Dave Prunty, Logan Hoy, and we have unfortunately lost Johnny Hollywood, Nick Tullow, and TJ Taff. Three of the drivers we haven't seen for a while, as there goes Rory O'Shea spinning round. We haven't seen a mistake from him in a while. It was really good last week in Alton Park when the luck went his way, but he has made a big error heading for the final chicane, and there was no car near him. That's completely under his own accord. And disappointing for Rory O'Shea. Adam McNamara has just set the fastest lap of the race. So that is impressive. Not one of our race leaders. It is the man who is down in 9th and fighting with the championship leader who has set the purple time. And Paolo Tempera looking to defend from Thor Thullo behind. Another one of our championship protagonists. Third in the championship is Thor. He has been very steady throughout the season so far. Only 2 podiums, but well over 200 points accumulated due to his consistency in all 4 rounds that we have raced. Only got a second podium last time out in Oulton Park as this gets really, really close in towards the right-hander, but they all remain clean. Only a small car, this Formula V, so they can run 2 abreast through the curve if they so choose to do so, and Peter McCann dives down the inside of Dylan McClements, and that's Dylan round. That's the championship leader who has gone round. Big moment in this race, big moment in this evening. Dylan McClements spins round. I'm not sure if he was tagged by Peter McCann or if he went round under his own accord, but McClements is down to 17th. And remember, this heat decides next heat's grid. There could be big implications for Dylan McClements if he's not able to get back up into the top 10. Let's have a look then on the Gantry TV replay. McClements in the red and white that you're looking at. Oh, might have been tagged. Might have hit the curb there. Certainly, Ronan Hederman in my ear seems to have a verdict on him. I'll be honest, Ronan, my headphones cut out a little bit, so I didn't entirely hear what you said. But
yeah, so it looks like Adam got up over the curb and collected Dylan on the way through.
Okay, so I would say there's some nasty words coming Adam's way from Dylan McClements, but Dylan wouldn't hurt a fly, even if Adam ruined his championship altogether. So disappointing for Dylan. He is in 15th and still relatively with the field. About 3 seconds between Jamal Gandor and the field, so he might still be able to catch up. Here's Robbie Callahan and Ronan Doherty. It is Robbie, Ronan, Connor who is fighting for the podium places, swapping and changing as they so please. Andrew Murphy 4th, Paolo Tempera in 5th, or will it be Paolo Tempera in 5th by the time we get to the start-finish line, because he is under big pressure from Thor Thullo and from Peter McCann. McCann taking a really adventurous line there. It's worked out an absolute treat because he's tucked into the slipstream of Paolo Tempera. Does lift off early though, as Paolo almost seemed to go for the move on Thor Thullo, had to back out. That caused him to be very slow mid-corner, and Peter McCann closed in on him like a steam train. Had to be very wary of his closing speed. A dab of the brakes to ensure that they both don't end up in the barrier, just like Jamal Gandor has. And unfortunately, he heads into the pit lane and out of this one. Disappointing for last week's driver of the day. Rory O'Shea is ahead of Sean McClements, and Rory is in 10th. Sean is in 11th. Dylan McClements is down even further in 14th. And we are seeing a lot of the front runners have problems here in this heat number 2. Heat 2's been an interesting one in this Motorsport.ie Formula V Championship. In the Mustang America's Cup, it was kind of just copy and paste of heat number 1 every week, but we seem to have some sort of drama here in heat number 2. And this is McClements and O'Shea side by side. A battle you'd usually expect for a race win, or for at least a podium. But it's a battle for the fringes of the top 10 here today at Donington Park. And it is O'Shea who is ahead of Sean McClements for the time being. Jared Thornton just behind as well, and he's made contact with Enda Farrell. You can smell that one coming from a mile away. Jared just took a very tight inside line, and Enda unfortunately couldn't produce his powers of Harry Houdini. Wasn't able to disappear. He lives going red. The apex of the corner. A bit of a cover here. So he's had a bit of a certainly not a damage-free evening. There'll need to be a few plasters taped over that Formula V car. 7 minutes gone out of the 15 here in heat number 2. As have I read that wrong? Is it 7 minutes gone? It is actually 7 minutes gone. I thought it was 3 minutes for a second. I was going to say it certainly felt longer than 3 minutes. It is still Ronan Doherty who leads ahead of Robbie Callahan in 2nd. Connor Melia in 3rd. Thor Thullo in 4th. Peter McCann in 5th. And then Paolo Tempera is in 6th. Andrew Murphy 7th. And Tony Stack is in 8th and currently on the reverse pole. This is Peter McCann you're looking at, defending from Portuguese racer Paolo Tempera, the Portuguese prodigy here in the Formula Vs. As Robbie Callahan looks for the race lead once again. I tell you what, Callahan driving out of his skin tonight. We usually have a few Robbie Callahan Driver of the Day nominees every week, but definitely a candidate so far this evening. But I'm also a commentator, So that could be a curse. Well and truly. Sorry, Robbie, in advance if it is. But Robbie Callaghan is right on the tail of Ronan Doherty, heading down towards the final corner here on this Donington Park National Circuit. No foggy S's, no Melbourne Loop here, but a brilliant overtake for Robbie Callaghan nonetheless. Down the inside is no! Just as he does the move, makes it stick. Round he goes, bottles under his own pressure. And that is Callaghan, who has spun round and out of a potential first RTA virtual motorsport race win. What did I say about commentators' curses? Robbie, I'm very, very sorry. As he has spun round and is still in a fairly decent 8th position. To be fair, like it's not the worst position you could end up if you're going to have a spin. Is on the reverse pole potentially for heat number 3, but yeah, disappointing for Robbie Callaghan. It's now between Doherty and Amelia for the race win here in Donington. I reminded back to Brands Hatch the last time that Amelia and Doherty were, in quotation marks, fighting for a race win, and it was Amelia that came out on top. And Ronan Doherty had a spin reminiscent of what we've just seen Robbie Callaghan do, heading through the Graham Hill bend in Brands Hatch. Have I just potentially done it again for the commentators' curse? Well, only time will tell. Thor Tullo, however, is doing a solid job of defending from Paolo Tempera. And Tempera and Tullo looking to just hold firm on this 3rd and 4th place from Andrew Murphy and Peter McCann right behind. It is the newcomers versus the admins here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. It's going to be Paolo Tempera, who dives down the inside of Thor Tullo. He has got the job done. Decent move there for Paolo Tempera. Doesn't reenact what Robbie Callaghan did, as Ronan Hederman's cut to the camera just as I've said that, so he was thinking the same thing. As he doesn't repeat what Robbie did. Fastest lap of the race for Sean McClemens, so there is still a bit of pace in the 3rd team DDR car, or the 2nd team DDR car, I should say. Dylan, of course, falling down the order as well. Sean McClemens dives down the inside of Robbie Callaghan. He is back onto the reverse grid, so himself and Thor have had a decent race so far. Getting back into the reverse grid, a big thing that you want to do here in RTA. Robbie Callaghan falling down to 10th, Robbie Callaghan falling down to 12th, and I've just seen a car off in the gravel. Dare I say it's Robbie Callaghan? It is. It's an early seaside holiday here in Leicestershire. Robbie Callaghan has gone well wide at the old hairpin. So Robbie's race is now, unfortunately, well and truly over. It was driver of the day shouts 2 minutes ago, and then Evan spoke. Which Robbie, in all honesty, might be the new Sean McClemens, and he can blame me for his ill fortune rather than his own mistake. But here comes Thor Tullo, a man who's not made many mistakes so far this season, and if I've said it once, I'll say it again. His consistency is why he is so far up the championship, and he's going for his 3rd podium of the season. As who is that spinning in front? It is a lap car. It is a lapped car. Oh, no, Andrew Murphy has been shoved into the pit lane and has been spun round. Well, he's not been quite spun round. They're both facing the right way, but yes, that looked very, very dodgy from the perspective we saw it in regards to the case of Paolo Tempera. I think he gave him a little bit of a shove. Maybe they got wheel locked, or maybe there was a little bit of net code. At least that's what Paolo might be praying for if it goes to a steward's review. But how Andrew Murphy is still on the fringes of the top 10, I'm not entirely sure. I thought that was going to be an aeroplane crash like we saw last week in Oulton Park. Let's have another look at this one. That is Thor Tullo in front. He is clear. Andrew Murphy goes for the inside. And then it's a big split from Tempera. Yeah. It's not Andrew's fault. I'll say that for free. But yeah, Stewart's definitely going to have a look at that one. Seemed a really, really weird move from Paolo Tempera, who has been I'm not going to say faultless driver, but certainly has been squeaky clean for the most part in his 2 weeks racing in RTA. Of course, was involved in the incident last week, the airplane crash in Oulton Park, but his fault wasn't, or it wasn't his fault, according to the stewards. We haven't really spoke about these two for a while, but this is actually the battle for the race lead, and it has just gone to Conor Melia, who could be on course for his 2nd win of the season, and ironically, his 2nd Heat 2 win of the season. It was Sean McGoldrick who he beat in Brands Hatch when Ronan Doherty fell down the order. Um, no one in the top five, other than Conor Melia, in that race is in the top five in this race. The top five in that race was Melia, McGoldrick, McClemens, Hoy. Here, oh well, Sean McClemens has just taken fifth and ruined that statistic for me. Thank you, Sean. As it was correct when Rory O'Shea was in fifth, and when I went from the timing tower to my notebook to read off the Brandstand race results. But Sean McClemens has just taken fifth, and obviously he is not racing for our entertainment. He is racing for points, and that is decent points considering where he started this race. But we are coming into the final stages here at Donington Park. 13 minutes 45 on the clock. I think we should get the white flag this time round. It's about a minute and 22 per lap, so we should get the white flag this time round. Jared Thornton defending from Philip Upson, and a great race so far for these two, Thornton and Upson, who have both started well. Jared Thornton is on the reverse pole for the time being, but those who are actually at the front in this heat, Conor Melia, Ronan Doherty, almost looks for the dummy down the inside. There is a 50 seconds to go here in this one. Doherty not able to make the move. Nearly 2/10 of a second quicker on the last lap. Peter McCann defending from Tortullo. We've got a two-car fight at the front. We've got a two-car fight for third. We've got a two-car fight for fifth. And this is almost like Noah's Ark here in the last lap at Donington Park. Melia still surviving at the front. Ronan Doherty in second position. Peter McCann then in third, still ahead of Tortullo. But Doherty, he's teeing up a move. He's going for the inside here for turn number 6, but wants the outside through turn number 7. And Ronan Doherty is into the race lead, heading through McLean's. That's a peach of a move round the outside. There's not many who could pull off something like that, but we know where Connor likes to go for his overtakes, and that's into the final chicane. He's going to tuck into the slipstream of second place in the championship in front. There's tactical weaving here. Doherty knows he needs to break the toe. Melia's got a run on him in towards the chicane. He's been able to break a lot later. Is he going to go for the lunge down the inside? No, he isn't. Breaks a tad bit later, but not late enough, unless he can get the run out of the final corner, which I'm not too sure he can. We've had drag races to the line in both Ulton and Brands. It won't quite be the same at Donington Park. Ronan Doherty goes 2 for 2 and takes the win here in heat number 2. Peter McCann has just been done for the final corner by Tortullo. It's a third podium in the season for Tullo, who continues his championship endeavour. Really nice job there. Sean McClemens comes home in fifth. It was a problem for Rory O'Shea because he was 6th the last time we looked at him. He's now down to 10th, so potentially an incident there. Reverse pole for this one, and I can't believe I'm saying this, will go to Dylan McClements. So look, when your look is there, your look is there. Says, free wide for the final chicane. This is Grace McCallion, Andrew Murphy, and Mark Ivory, and McCallion has pipped all 4 of them behind her. So McCallion, the host of an all-new RTA podcast, has got the move done on the 4 of them. Not genuine, by the way. No. Some people will find that funny. It is Ronan Doherty who takes the race win. Here in heat number 2, it is Conor Melia in second and Tortullo in third, and Peter McCann in fourth, Sean McClemens in fifth, Honey Stack in sixth, then it is Jared Thornton in seventh, Dylan McClemens in eighth, Philip Upson in ninth, Rory O'Shea in 10th, Robbie Callahan in 11th, David Prunty in 12th, Henda Farrell in 13th, then it is Grace McCann in 14th, who isn't hosting an RTA podcast. Just to give context for anyone who's confused at home, she was speaking a lot during the Brands Hatch race, so someone said it was like podcast. But anyways, Andrew Murphy in 15th, Mark Ivory in 16th, Dave Collier in 17th, Logan Hoy in 18th, Andrew McNamara in 19th, Paolo Tempera in 20th. Then it was Johnny Hollywood, Jamal Gandor, Nick Tullo, TJ Taft not making the finish. Let's hear from your 2-time race winner tonight, then Ronan Doherty. Hello, Ronan. 2 from 2 here tonight, but you've had to work for them.
Yeah, the two's pretty big around here. There's a large percentage of the lap where you're on the throttle and going up hills and stuff like that when there's such a long fourth gear and you're so low in revs. The engine's really struggling, so the two's accentuate it. I mean, on the first race, I had like a 1.2 second gap going up the hill, and I lost like 2 or 3 tenths from that far back. It's crazy, but it promotes good racing anyway. Nice close racing.
Would it be safe to say that with the engine struggling, it's a good thing we're not running Jordan Kelly's Formula V?
Yeah, no, it's then you'd be in really bad bother then.
we'd be going back down the hill. Speaking of hills, round the outside through turn number 7 on Connor Melia on the last lap. Was that always the plan?
Not really. I wanted to try out being second on the last lap because I was first on the last lap the last time, and it's all just about each driver. Like I've been seeing Connor for a few laps. He a few times when I went side by side with him there, he did back out there, and I knew if I got onto the back straight, I was pretty good coming out the preceding corner. So yeah, that was sort of my thoughts behind the strategy in the last lap.
And then coming into Heat 3, then we know it's not necessarily difficult to overtake, but we did also see what happened last week. So what's the
Yeah.
plan then?
I don't know. The plan's the same as always, just to stay out of trouble. But I found that quite hard this year or this season. I think I've had pretty bad luck, so hopefully I get the rub of the green in this one.
Ronan, thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck for Heat 3.
Cheers, lads.
Well, he didn't say keeper country this time. Let's hear from the second place man, Connor Melia, who has finished in second. Have I got it right this time, Connor?
Yeah, well done. Proud of you.
I have corrected myself about 4 or 5 times tonight. Second place was almost looking like it was going to be your second win of the season, but you just lost out in the last lap.
Yeah, the last lap let me down a little bit. I should have been closer. Actually, I finished with a 3x. I should have probably used up a few more to get right up behind them into the chicane. But yeah, I mean, on pace alone, I think it's fairly well decided which one was the faster. It's just the mega toe was keeping me there.
Yeah, and then speaking of that mega toe, then it seems to be that other drivers are using that better and planning their moves better. Would you say that's maybe one of your strong points, planning on when to go for the overtakes? Because we saw a lot of good moves into the final corner when other drivers aren't really risking it there.
Yeah, I mean it's especially when racing with Ronan, you know he's going to give you the space and race respectfully. So that does help. That the corner leading onto that back straight is a tough one as well. The minimum speed you carry through there, and it decides how good your run is. Like you'll be up behind them no matter what, but whether you can get by up alongside them, even past them before the braking zone, all depends on the corner before at the penultimate corner. So that's kind of the main focus on this track is making sure you keep up the high minimum speed through there.
And coming into Heat 3 then, reverse grid, obviously, it seems like we will have the inevitable grid shuffle. You were able to survive last week. I assume that's the plan again?
Yeah, just keep with Ronan, try and follow him through, keep out of trouble.
Connor, thank you very much, and we hope to hear from you again after Heat 3.
Cheers, lads. Have a good one.
So good to hear from Ronan and Connor there, the first and second place in Heat number 1 and in Heat number 2. I have a report in here. I say a report, I'm reading the Discord, is that the reason we're not seeing Nick Tullow out on track is that someone has accidentally disqualified him from the round, which is disappointing. I have read the name. I thought it was the other variation of the name, but I think it might be someone else. But anyways, in a completely unrelated topic, Ronan Hederman, interesting first 2 heats, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was Ronan Doherty. I'm going to call him in now.
Oh, it was. Ronan started giggling, so I thought it was him, but I did assume.
Oh, no. I wouldn't do something like that. No, yes, absolutely. The guys who are fighting at the front, like unbelievable fighting at the front. Ronan has that bit more racecraft, I think. And it looks like we're going straight to the race. I'm going to leave it back to you.
We are going straight to the race. It is Dylan McClements who starts on pole, Gerard Thornton in second. I think that's a first ever for a front row as we go racing once again for the final time here in Donington Park. Great start for Dylan McClements, a lot better than what he got in heat number 1. Great start Sean McClements as well. It'll be a McClements 1-2 into the first corner, but which one leads? It will still be Dylan. Sean stays in second. Gerard Thornton is then in third. Tony Stack falls down to 4th. Well, Tony Stack falls down to 5th. Peter McCann is in 4th. They're swapping and changing in the backpack. Conor Melia is in 6th. Tortullo then down to 7th. Ronan Doherty is in 8th as Conor Melia and Tortullo side by side in towards the old hairpin. A little bit treacherous through there, but they both come out relatively unscathed. As there is one car off in the background, Grace McCallion runs a little bit wide through the old hairpin. But nothing major, just a couple of positions lost. Still side by side up the hill. That is Conor Melia, who you can still see side by side there. That is Rory O'Shea. Rory and Peter running very similar liveries this season, but that is Rory O'Shea, not Peter McCann. Peter well up the road in 4th. You can see there just hunting down Gerard Thornton, and Tony Stack tries it round the outside of Rory O'Shea. Very difficult move to pull off at the Copples corner, but Tony Stack absolutely gets the job done. Dylan McClement still leads. Sean McClement's in 2nd. Those two will definitely be working together to try pull out a little bit of a gap before Ronan Doherty is able to catch them, as Rory O'Shea trying it around the outside of Tony Stack. Someone has run wide in front. That's Gerard Thornton, who's made a bit of a mistake. Straight the chicane is no. I was going to say we got for the first lap unscathed, but we haven't. Andrew Murphy's round in the background. It's not the monstrous crash we had last week, but it is one spinner as Doherty has just done the double in towards the first corner. Thornton, McCann dispatched as easy as you like. He gets the job done. Sean McClements, Dylan McClements, side by side down the famous Craner curves. Dylan, still the race leader, championship leader, coming into this round, needs every point he can get after Doherty won heat number 1 and heat number 2. And Peter McCann is into the slipstream of Tortullo. These two have almost been handcuffed together this evening. They've been out on track battling for what seems like the last hour now, as Logan Hoy gets past Paolo Tempera a little bit further back. Well, he did, but he's just lost 2 places. He ran wide heading through that corner, so Logan Hoy is now in 14th position behind Paolo Tempera rather than in front. So that's a sneaky move from Dave Collier down the inside. Bit of experience showing as Johnny Hollywood's almost forced into Narnia on the inside. Very close to being ran into the grass. And McNamara still side by side with Johnny Hollywood. Dave Collier as well has just lost out in the middle, and that is going to be around the outside for Adam McNamara. Very decent move there. His Heat 3 battles have been something to watch, as there is is that Philip? I'm not too sure who that is actually gone round. It is Philip Upson who has gone round. And I tell you what, they all did very, very well to avoid that one. Philip was in a bit of a precarious position there, but they were all keen-eyed and were able to clear the spun car. Ronan Doherty has latched on to his 2 cousins in front, and he is battling with them for the race lead. So Ronan, thankfully, or thankfully for his sakes, I should say, has got through any form of back marker who maybe might have been at the front due to the reverse grid, or has got through any sort of collision or spin, unlike in Alton Park, unlike in Brands Hatch. Now he can challenge for the race lead. He's already dispatched Sean McClements. Is he going to get past Dylan McClements? The only thing here is it looks like Ronan is about 0.5 of a second quicker than everyone else, but once he gets in front, he won't be able to pull away due to the slipstream. He doesn't have that much of a pace advantage over Dylan McClements and Sean McClements, so they will keep with Ronan no matter what he does. But I tell you what, he's having a little bit of one of his own lap of the gods here, is Ronan Doherty, because he's got past both Sean and Dylan. And look at this, look at Tortullo getting involved. Top 3 in the championship, top 3 on the road, in a slightly different order, but still, this is thoroughly entertaining here in Ireland's Premier Sim Racing Series. Peter McCann looking to try and get involved as well. Wishes he was 4th in the championship, but he is 4th on the road. Sean McClements, sorry, he's 4th on the road. Peter McCann 5th on the road, but almost got the job done on Sean. A little bit wide for Tortullo. That might invite Dylan McClements back into play here, down through the Kreiner curves. Look at this, just look at this, look how close we are running. The slipstream mental as they drop downhill. One of the big elevation changes here at Donington Park. Dylan McClements doesn't go for the move on Doherty, does go for the move on Tullow. McCann clean round the outside of Sean McClements as well. That's a great move from Peter McCann, and look, he's got a couple of car lengths ahead of him as well. Robbie Callahan has latched onto the back of Sean McClements. That brings practically half the country into play. There is 10 cars in this battle. It says Ronan Hederman in my ear, and that is absolutely spot on, because we can just see the Super Mario logo of Tony Stack's front nose sneaking into camera shot. It is Doherty, McClemens, Tullow, McCann, Callaghan, O'Shea, Melia, Sean McClemens very wide on the grass. Sean McClemens, big mistake, unusual mistake for the king of the heat free. He's kept in the train but has fallen to the back of it. So a slight swap of the carriages, but they all remain linked together. Melia goes for the move on Rory O'Shea. Two drivers who have fought many a time in the single-seater championships of RTA Virtual Motorsport. That is Connor, who comes out on top in this little tussle. 5 minutes and 50 gone here in this heat out of the 20. So still plenty of time to go. Still well over 3/4 of the race to be raced. This Connor runs a little bit wide in front, but nothing to write home about. Rory doesn't get the greatest run on him anyways. Ronan Doherty is under a bit of pressure from Dylan McClemens in second. And second in the championship against the championship leader. But the way things have gone tonight, I think that they might have changed titles coming into this heat free. Obviously, no one has the maths done in it. Although actually saying Enda probably does have the maths done in it. But me or Ronan don't, so that'll be all decided after the 3 heats and the stewards' reports have taken place. Now 1.2 seconds between Peter McCann and Robbie Callaghan, so the fighting from 5th downwards has started to hamper them a little bit, but a few clean laps and that gap will be closed. Sean McClemens looking to get past Tony Stack down in towards the right-hander. It is a man from the very north of the country versus a man from the very south, and Sean McClemens is going to try and dive down the inside here. Yeah, way later than brakes. Almost makes it look simple. It's not simple, but he's made it look like anyone could do it blindfolded. And Sean is up to 9th now, looking to rework his way up after running wide through the Coppice corner a handful of laps ago. Still Ronan Doherty in the race lead. Still Dylan McClemens in second. No changes throughout the field. It is very timid for an RTA heat free. As I say that, let's go free wide down the corner curves, because why not? It's Robbie Callaghan, Conor Melia, Rory O'Shea involved in this fight, and it's Rory O'Shea who we are on board with, looking to go for the move on Conor in front. Here is Robbie Callaghan looking to try and fling it round the outside through the old hairpin. Oh, Robbie Callaghan just drives it out of line, just keeps it onto the gravel, and there's a bit of a squeeze between the two, but Callaghan still full commitment, still full of confidence, still feels that this move will be completed, and he's absolutely correct. Or is he? No, O'Shea breaks later. Oh, Callaghan went for the up and under, but Jared Thornton, as sneaky as you like, dives it down the inside, spots a gap, takes it, job done. Great move from Jared Thornton, very opportunistic, and an impressive move nonetheless. Here is Logan Hoy, who is battling with Mark Ivory. This is for 12th position. Logan finished 9th in Heat 3 last week, finished 10th in Heat 2 and finished 7th in Heat number 1. So there was 3 top 10s for Logan in Alton Park. He's on a string of good form. Has been told to keep it clean, and I tell you what, tonight so far absolutely has kept it clean. There is a spinner off in the back. I believe that's Enda Farrell, who has gone off once again. Yeah, it is. So that is 1 spin for each of the heats for Enda. Not all his own fault, but 1 spin for each of the heats, as Sean McClemens now well back within the fight. Conor Melia has lost the position there. Sean up to 6th spot. Conor down to 7th. Jared Thornton still in 8th. So he he's still ahead of Robbie Callaghan, I should say. Robbie's actually lost another position. He has fallen to 10th now, behind Tony Stack. So disappointing for Robbie Callaghan, who was looking in fine form. Could have challenged for the win in heat number 2, but of course that spin under his own accord, running through the final corner about halfway through the race, which I may be at fault for, but that is a discussion for later. Ronan Doherty under a bit of pressure now from Dylan Clements. This is, I suppose, where drivers like Ronan and Dylan will excel. They're kind of used to this fighting at this point in these cars, certainly being at the front of the race every week. Obviously barely the odd spin and stuff like we've seen from Dylan today, but for the most part, Doherty and D. Doc McClemens have been 2 names in the scoring sheet that have been up the front for most weeks. So they're kind of used to this nitty-gritty fighting, this a lot of cars in one small area. It's drivers that, like Jared Thornton, maybe like Tony Stack, that might be a little bit vulnerable in a scenario such as this. Sean McClements and Rory O'Shea excelling though as they're fighting, heading through the right-hander. But sorry, I'm saying this about Jared Thornton. Jared's drive had a cracking race, and I can't remember if it was last week or the week before I brought up this point. In terms of I rating, Jared has the lowest on the field. That doesn't mean he's the slowest on the field. It just means he hasn't raced iRacing as much as everyone else. My I rating is 0, for example. But Jared Thornton is really excelling in this field. And if you see another driver excelling in this field, make sure you get a Driver of the Day nominee in the YouTube or the Facebook chats as well. We love seeing your chat interaction. Admittedly, I haven't read much of it today because we've had a lot of action out on circuit, but do make sure to get your correspondence into myself and Ronan, and certainly your Driver of the Day nominees are greatly appreciated as always. As here is a fight for 12th spot. Andrew Murphy, Logan Hoy, Johnny Hollywood involved in this one as well, as dare I say Mark Ivory is, and Andrew Murphy drives it round the outside of Logan Hoy. Johnny Hollywood involved in it as well. Johnny Hollywood, a man with a lot of Formula V experience. Oh, Johnny Hollywood, a man with a lot of guts and courage to dive down the inside of almost 2 cars through the Coppers corner. Has clipped one of them, but he did get the move done on the other. Mark Ivory has been sent spinning, the B Series leader. Mark with a second best result of 8th last week, of course, in Alton Park. Won't be repeating that here. Johnny Hollywood back down the inside of Logan Hoy. This is one of Mondello's most experienced drivers against one of Mondello's newest drivers. What's Mondello, you're asking? That's like, why are you watching if you don't know what Mondello is? But nothing to do with this championship, but real life racing. That was a little bit of a tangent. But yeah, Johnny Hollywood, a man to keep an eye on, because that was almost a perfect move on both of them. Back up the front though, we have less than half the race to go. The top 4 have ran away. The back sort of 6 of the leader train that we saw still scrapping, and it is still Ronan Doherty who is in front. 8 minutes to go. He'll be fancying this one, definitely. He will be fancying the hat-trick. Wouldn't be the first hat-trick of the season, as he completed the trifecta in Snetterton. First round of the season, the first ever first round hat-trick. Well, I say first ever, first in 2024. As long as Gantry TV has been around. How am I mispronouncing years now? That's a real new low for Gantry TV. But Ronan Doherty would love to do it again. Dylan McClements, though, will be the man who's looking to spoil Doherty's party, and probably feels that his cousin has had enough success in a Formula V this season, feels that he deserves the championship, definitely feels that he deserves a heat-free win here at Donington Park after he's been up and down the order. Rory O'Shea is the defending car in the battle for 5th. Sean McClements in 6th, Conor Melia in 7th, Robbie Callahan is in 8th. Tony Stack has just fallen off the back in 9th, as has Jared Thornton. So Tony and Jared, unfortunately, only able to keep up for the first 10 minutes. If it was Heat 1, they'd be flying. But in Heat 3, these longer heat, they unfortunately just not able to keep up. And Rory O'Shea, I have to say, doing a good job defending. Although, I'm not sure if Ronan Hederman might agree with me, but it's been weirdly timid for a Heat 3, especially with only 6-ish minutes on the clock.
Yeah, I think it's a case of these guys are mature enough when it comes to race 3 to wait it out instead of doing this back and forth battling for an entire race and wearing themselves out. I think, you know, Ronan knows that he just has to drive consistent, everyone behind stay right up with it, and leave it till what, let's say the last 3 or 4 laps that they'll go at it hammer and tongs.
I'd love to edit the clip of the 28 car or whatever collision last week over Ronan saying they're mature enough to wait until the last 3 laps.
Please don't.
No, I won't, because I forget to get my own commentary clips these days. But that would be quite funny. But no, I have to agree with you, because Dylan and Ronan, and when Jordan is here, they always do this. They always wait until the last few laps of the race. Sean McClements as well. They always do it. And Thortolo and Peter McCann have just been infected with the patience disease as well. That actually weirdly sounds like it was some sort of joke with patience and disease, but no, it isn't. Rory O'Shea, another man who is driving consistently, just driving comfortably at the front of this race. Sean McClements will be looking for the move at the earliest opportunity. Sean is not a man with a lot of patience. doesn't exactly like waiting around for things. Has specifically told me this fact that he doesn't like waiting around for things. So he'll be going for the move as early as possible. And as you now, yeah, like exactly now, he goes for the move in towards the chicane and gets the job done. Rory visibly not too frustrated with that one, knows that Sean will run wide through the chicane potentially, and he can have another go at it down towards the first corner. But Sean McClemens does get the job done. Sean, 5th in the championship last season. This season currently sits 6th in the championship, 202 points, but obviously felt that could be a lot higher. Had a disappointing week in Alton Park last week. His best result was only 4th in Heat number 3, but there were 2 catastrophic races in Heat 1 and Heat 2. There goes McCallion over the bumps for the final chicane, and Sheeridge joins the circuit down in 17th spot. It's been one of Grace's better evenings, though, here in Donington. Certainly from a points haul perspective, has put herself back into contention in the B Championship. Considering Mark Ivory's not had the best of rounds either. Sits 15th for now behind Johnny Hollywood, so Heat 3 has gone well. But all the heats are equally weighted here in RTA, so you could have the greatest 20-minute heat of all time, but if you were like a fidget spinner in Heat number 1, you've lost out on big points. Rory O'Shea hasn't lost out on any big points here this evening, and he is currently sitting in 6th. But we jump back up to the front with Ronan Doherty as we do get into the dying end. So we expect Dylan McClemens to launch his attack fairly soon. Dylan knows the defensive tactics in an RTA race. He's used them time and time again. Let's see what his aggressive attacking tactics are like here at the late stages. I don't think I'll ever forget that impressive defensive performance in Brands Hatch in the Super Formula Lights from Dylan McClemens. I don't remember him being the man to attack in the late race in Heat 3. I could be wrong, but I'm interested to see what Dylan McClemens could do. Tortullo as well behind in 3rd. Has to be wanting a race win at this point. We blabber on about consistent points time and time again, but the reason these guys all race is to win. The reason I'm here talking to you guys is because I can't win, but these guys all want to win, and that is just the natural thing of a racer. We all want to win. So Tortullo, as much as he's loving these consistent points, and as much he loves being in 3rd in the championship, there is a gap that he wants to fill with victory. And he will try to do so, I hope, in the final 2 minutes and 10 seconds of this race. If you are enjoying the action, of course, folks, make sure to subscribe to Gantry TV. Make sure to check out our sponsors, Motorsport.ie as well, because this should be a good one. Final 2 minutes then, final 2 laps of this evening at Donington Park. And it is Ronan Doherty who will look to defend from his championship rival Dylan McClemens and his other championship rival Tortullo. Rory O'Shea is able to get past the other McClemens, the older of the 2 McClemens is Sean McClemens, as Robbie Callahan has just pumped in the fastest lap out of absolutely nowhere. He's plucked that one out of thin air and popped it on the timing sheets. Very nice lap for Robbie Callahan. Doesn't get anything for it, but a sense of pride, and Robbie will have bragging rights that he got fastest lap here in Heat number 3. Doherty still just looking comfortable at the front of this one. Is Dylan McClemens even going to be able to launch an attack? There is only 0.2 of a second between them, so definitely can, but Doherty just looks so comfortable here. It's a natural habitat, this, for Ronan Doherty. Certainly is leading races, and you can see that in his driving. Looks composed, looks comfortable. There's no kick out of the rear, there's no correction, there's no missed apex. It was just smooth driving and composure. Even uses a little bit of the dust on the entrance to the corner. Dylan McClemens will have the slipstream down towards the final chicane, though. We will have one more lap here at Donington Park. Still 4 cars in contention here. Could Peter McCann maybe even surprise us all and go from 4th to 1st? We've had a 3rd to 1st in Irish motorsport in recent history. Jack Kennedy in the British Supersport Championship going 3rd to 1st at Donington Park in the last lap. Could Tortullo maybe relive those footsteps? Could Peter McCann? Because here we go. Last lap of the evening at Donington Park. Ronan Doherty, no defensive manoeuvre in towards Redgate. Feels comfortable down the Wheatcroft straight. And Dylan McClemens will look to unsettle Doherty's confidence down the Craner curves and the descent before the incline that Doherty spoke about. Doherty feeling it's a very long fourth gear. McClemens won't care what gear he's in once he's able to get past Ronan Doherty in front, and Doherty will defend in towards the old hairpin this time round. Will he have enough out of the exit and through Starkey's Bridge? He will. Rory O'Shea defending from Sean McClemens. Big lunge from Robbie Callahan, who's put himself back in contention. He's got ahead of Conor Melia. McClemens 1/10 behind. McClemens almost half a tenth behind of Ronan Doherty heading in towards here. Tried the inside. Doherty got the move done on the outside in heat number 2. Peter McCann's got the move done on Thor Tullow. And what a move by Peter McCann, because he has confirmed that one. No blabbing about it. The apex of the next corner. McCann is well ahead. And here comes Dylan McClemens. He actually does have a bit of a run on Ronan Doherty. It's not over just yet, folks. McClemens is into the slipstream. He's looking for a first win of the season and to keep title hopes well and truly alive in towards the chicane. It's going to be one of the all-time great moves if he can pull this one off around the outside. No, it's too late on the brakes. He's gone for too much, and McClemens has thrown his chances away. It's off the podium. It's down to 4th. Oh, is Peter McCann going to take it at the line? He almost does. Ronan Doherty wins the race. McClemens bit off more than he could chew and falls down to 5th behind his brother. Peter McCann in 2nd. Thor Tullow 4th podium of the season in 3rd. Sean then comes home in 4th. Dylan comes home in 5th. Rory in 6th. Conor Melia in 7th. Further back here, we're looking at Johnny Hollywood versus Logan Hoy. This is into the same chicane. Hollywood on the inside, Hoy on the outside. There's no defending that, Johnny, I'm afraid. He has just ran Logan completely out of room. Fair enough, hate the game, not the player. But yeah, Logan might be putting in an old Stewart's appeal for that one. He falls down to 16. As that's probably what Dylan McClemens would have liked to do to Ronan Doherty at the front of the grid. And here's Grace McCallion coming home in 19th position ahead of Emma Farrell, who comes home in 20th spot. But yeah, great end to that heat, very dramatic. Heading into the final chicane. And I would have bet the house on Dylan McClemens getting that move done on the braking zone, but just wasn't able to do it. Just overshot himself and just went for it. But as I said, these drivers want to win, and that's all they want to do. Ronan Doherty takes the hat-trick of wins here at Donington Park, just like he did in Snetterton. Peter McCann in 2nd, Thor Tullow in 3rd, Sean McClemens in 4th, Dylan McClemens in 5th, Rory O'Shea in 6th, and it was Conor Melia, Robbie Callahan, Tony Stack, then it was Gerard Thornton, David Prunty, Andrew Murphy, Mark Ivory, Jamal Gandor 14th, great race, Jamal, job well done, Dave Collier 15th, Phil Upson in 16th, Grace McCallion in 17th, and the Farrell then in 18th position. Those positions have changed since they all crossed the line, but that's a question for whoever tallies the results, not me. Johnny Hollywood 19th, Logan Hoy 20th. Those are the two who have changed, so unsure about that one. But then the non-finishers were Adam McNamara, Paolo Tempera, Nick Tullow, and TJ Taft. Disappointing not to see Nick or TJ out here tonight. TJ having some PC issues, Nick having some Ronan Doherty issues. Speaking of the devil, let's hear from the hat-trick winner now. Sorry to interrupt you mid-conversation, Ronan, but media duties are still there for a 2-time hat-trick taker here this season. A really impressive job from you tonight. How did that last heat go from your eyes?
Yeah, it was just a matter of trying to play my cards right, and yeah, I know it probably looked boring, no fighting until like the last lap or two, but if we done that, we would have allowed it to be an absolute horror show. So, for us, but yeah, just sort of on the last lap, I knew I was kind of quicker than Dylan coming off that corner as well from the previous laps in the mirrors, so I was happy enough being on the lead going on the back straight, but he actually got a pretty good run. I just sort of held the inside, and unfortunately he lost it. I mean, he went in very hard too. So I don't know if he would have held it. I think actually if he did hold it, Peter would have gotten the run, because I wouldn't have been able to get on throttles early, and Peter would have won. But no, look, it fell my way tonight.
In terms of the championship, then, like, I mean, 90 points puts you in a brilliant position now. Irregardless of whatever a drop round might affect the order, you're definitely in a great position heading into the final races.
Yeah, for sure. Just have to keep it clean. I mean, I suppose I probably didn't have to. I didn't have to win the races really tonight. It's more about consistent points, but it's always nice just to have a good hike and have a good race as well, and that's what we done.
And with, of course, Jordan not racing this week, and just mentioned the drop round. Obviously, he picks up 0 for this round, regardless of what a drop round does, because he missed earlier this season in Snetterton, funnily enough. So your 2 hat tricks, but we'll leave that one. Do you see maybe Dylan and Thor now as the 2 rivals to beat?
Yeah, I'm not actually sure what the points look like. I've had a few shockers, and then Dylan had some bad
Coming
bad
into
races
tonight,
tonight.
you
So
were 20 behind Dylan.
okay, yeah. So I don't know. I've probably closed in a lot, and I don't know how the drop's going to play into it. So
You've definitely overtaken him after the
you
season.
think so? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Look, it's obviously very good to get into the lead of a championship, but just the nature of the racing in these cars can really happen. So just take it race by race, for now.
Ronan, thank you very much. Congratulations on another 3 wins, and we shall see you next week.
All right, cheers, lads. Keep your country.
Oh, he did say it this time. That is Rhoda Doherty, 3-time race winner tonight. Let's hear from second place, Peter McCann. Hello, Peter. Congratulations on second. Look, I'm not going to claim to be a genius, but I said coming into tonight, this is one of your better tracks, and I think the results showed it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about Donington, but I always go well here. I don't know. It's a funny one.
Last lap, then, I suppose, of the last heat. You're in 4th. You end up 2nd. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, I tried to go on tour early because I knew the 2 boys were already talking about racing into the last corner, and I knew, especially going down the back straight, once they went side by side, I was like, I'll set myself up here and see what happens. Like, I wouldn't want Dylan to spin, but I thought if the 2 of them were slow out of the corner, I might even take the win. But yeah, I think 500s at the end there, so close.
And then overall in the season, I suppose that puts you back up in contention for maybe even a top 5. Obviously, you had Tony, Rory in front of you. I think I'm no mathematician, but you definitely equal them, if not outscore them tonight. Do you have a long-term goal then coming into the final races, or is it just take it how it comes?
I'll see. I'll see how it goes. I missed round 2, so I'm on a 0 drop. So it'd be interesting to see where I do fall at the end, and just try and keep the results some way consistent for the rest of the season. See where we land.
And then heading into next week, of course, after, well, what we both think is one of your better tracks, we have first race in the States, Lime Rock. That one you're looking forward to?
Yeah, it's a track I like. I do like Lime Rock. I don't think the layout has been announced yet, but if it goes to the chicanes, I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know. I don't know where we're going to end up there. We haven't run chicanes all season, so I'm assuming we'll run the nice flowy, fast version.
We might have a boring race for you folks on Gantry TV, or a very interesting one with a load of chicanes. But that is for next week. Peter, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So great to hear from Ronan and Peter there, 2 of your podium placers in the final heat. Well, your race winner and your podium placer in the final heat. That last chicane mistake from Dylan, that could be a very, very costly one, and it might cost him in the long run. Let's take another look at it here. Heading into the chicane. Thankfully, the incident review is a little bit less hectic than it was in Ulton Park. Let's have a look. Dylan, around the outside, I think he just brakes a little bit too late. Obviously, Ronan Hederman will have a little bit more experience on iRacing than I do, but I think he just tried to take the corner a bit too quick.
Yeah, I don't think Dylan had a choice there. I think he had to. It was do or die there really, for that move, and fair play to him for trying it. But the second I saw him pulling up alongside, especially on the wrong side, that was never going to end nicely, was it?
No, not really. He had to go for it though. It's, as we said at the top of the program. It's very rare you see a champion who doesn't win a race, so he had to try and do everything he could. And that is make or break for Dylan. He will live and he will learn, and hopefully have no regrets, because he gave us a brilliant spectacle on that last lap. There's your final feature results on screen. We, of course, now have the difficult job of driver of the day, and I have 2 nominees, and they might seem fairly boring, but I think it's the top 2 from the last heat. It's between Ronan and Peter.
I'm go-
He
I, I'm gonna
he
I'm gonna
knows.
I'm gonna I'm gonna throw a curveball. I think Jared Thornton drove spectacularly well. to
Well, see, did you
finish.
put him on screen before I finished the sentence? Absolutely. And obviously, I actually do agree with you though. I think
Yeah,
Jared's over it.
um,
Actually, no,
Jared.
hold on. We don't go for the front runners on this. I
No,
forgot.
no, we don't unless it's someone has literally pulled it out of the bag. So, but the reason I'm going to go for Jared here is to finish top eight and get the reverse pole. And yes, he did fall back down to P10 at the end of this race, but we did see some serious racing from him mid race, and yeah, I think that's probably the best
Yeah,
call
good shout.
from well, for myself anyway. I don't know about yourself.
I think actually, I think did we have Jared in contention a couple of weeks ago as well, and he just missed out. So I think we're going to give it to Jared Thornton this week. In all honesty, Jared, I do apologise because I forgot you when I was saying my two nominees. But that is a great shout from Ronan Hederman. We had two comments on it. One was Sean McClemens saying not Sean McClemens, couldn't agree more. The other was Ronan Doherty saying Nick Tullo after he unfairly disqualified him from this evening. But Jared Thornton, your driver of the day, I think is a great shout, and we're going to give it to him. I believe it's his first driver of the day. Certainly dominated by us, so a job well done for Jared, and hopefully we see him out next time in Lime Rock. But that is about it, folks. All we have time for here tonight. A big thanks to our title sponsors, of course, Motorsport.ie, the finest Irish motorsport page, the biggest as well. For all your motorsport news, there was plenty of articles going up today, one about various different Irish drivers racing abroad. So make sure you do go and check out that one. I won't spoil anything for you, and that can be your little bit of evening reading before bedtime. And make sure you do go and check that one out. On behalf of myself and Ronan, thank you very much for watching. A big thanks to Ronan Hederman as well, of course, for providing the pictures as always. And we shall be back next week stateside. We are going on our J1s and we are heading over to Lime Rock. It should be a good one. You know where to find us. Gantry TV, RTA Virtual Motorsport, 9 p.m. every Tuesday. Be there. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you next time. Slán go fóill.